Welcome to Thoughts on the Market. I'm Rachel Fletcher, Morgan Stanley's Head of EMEA Sustainability Research.
And I'm Arushi Agarwal, European Sustainability Strategist based in London.
From kombucha to kimchi, probiotic-rich fermented foods have long been staples at health-focused grocers. On the show today, a deeper dive into the future of fermentation technology. Does it hold the key to meeting the world's growing nutrition needs as people live longer, healthier lives? It's Wednesday, 26th of March at 3 p.m. in London. Many of you listening may remember hearing about longevity. It's one of our 4 long-term secular themes that we're following closely at Morgan Stanley. And this year, we're looking even more closely at a sub-theme, affordable, healthy nutrition. Arushi, in your recent report, you highlight that traditional agriculture is facing many significant challenges. What are they, and how urgent is this situation?
There are 4 key environmental and social issues that we highlight in the note. Now, the first 2, which are related to emissions intensity and resource consumption, are quite well known. So, traditional agriculture is responsible for almost a third of global greenhouse gas emissions, and it also uses more than 50% of the world's land and freshwater resources. What we believe are issues that are less focused on are related to current agriculture practices and climate change that could affect our ability to serve the rising demand for nutrition. We highlight some studies in the note. One of them states that the produce that we have today has on average 40% less nutrition than it did over 80 years ago. And this is due to elevated use of chemicals and decline in soil fertility. Another study that we refer to estimates that average yields could decline by 30 to 50% before the end of the century. And this is even in the slowest of the warming scenarios.
I think everyone would agree that they're 4 very serious issues. Are there potential solutions to these challenges?
Yes, so when we've written about the future of food previously, we've identified alternative proteins, precision agriculture, and seeds technology as possible solutions for improving food security and reducing emissions. If I focus on alternative proteins, this category has so far been dominated by plant-based food, which has seen a moderation in growth due to challenges related to taste and price. However, we still see significant need for alternative proteins, and synthetic biology-led fermentation is a new way to tap into this market. In simple terms, this technology involves growing large amounts of microorganisms in tanks, which can then be harvested and used as a source of protein or other nutrients. We believe this technology can support healthy longevity, provide access to reliable and affordable food, and also fill many of the nutritional gaps that are related to plant-based food.
So how big is the fermentation market, and why are we focusing on it right now?
So we estimate a base case of $30 billion by 2030. This represents a 5,000 kiloton market for fermented proteins. We think the market will develop in 2 phases. Phase 1 from 2025 to 2027 will be focused on whey protein and animal nutrition. We're already seeing a few players sell products at competitive prices in these markets. Moving on to phase 2, from 2028 to 2030, we expect the market will expand to the egg, meat, and dairy replacement industry. There are a few reasons we think investors should start paying attention now. 2024 was a pivotal year in validating the technology's proof of concept. A lot of companies moved from labs to pilot stage. They achieved regulatory approvals to sell their products in markets like US and Singapore, and they also conducted extensive market testing. As this technology scales, we believe the next 3 years will be critical for commercialization.
So there's potentially significant growth there, but what's the capital investment needed for this scaling effort?
A lot of CapEx will be required. Scaling of this technology will require large initial CapEx predominantly in setting up bioreactors or fermentation tanks. Achieving our 2030 base case TAM will require 200 million liters in bioreactor capacity. This equals to an initial investment opportunity of $100 billion. But once these facilities are all set up, ongoing expenses will focus on input costs for carbon, oxygen, water, nitrogen, and electricity. PwC estimates that 40 to 60% of the ongoing costs with this process are associated with electricity, which makes it a key consideration for future commercial investments.
Now, we've talked a lot about the potential opportunity and the potential total addressable market, but what about consumer preferences? Do you think they'll be easy to shift?
So we're already seeing evidence of shifting consumer trends, which we think can be supportive of demand for fermented proteins. An analysis of Google Trends data shows that since 2019, interest in terms like high-protein diet and gut health has increased the most. Some of the products we looked at within the fermentation space not only contain fiber, as expected, but they also offer a high degree of protein concentration, a lot of times ranging from 60 to 90%. Additionally, food manufacturers are focusing on new format foods that provide more than one use case. For example, free from all types of allergens. Fermentation technology utilizes a very diverse range of microbial species and can provide solutions related to non-allergenic foods.
We've covered a lot today, but I do want to ask a final question around policy support. What's the government's role in developing the alternative proteins market, and what's your outlook around policy in Europe, the US, and other key regions, for example?
This is an important question. Growth of fermentation technology hinges on adequate policy support, not just to enable the technology, but also to drive demand for its products. So in the note, we highlight various instances of ongoing policy support from across the globe. For example, regulatory approvals in the US, a cellular agriculture package in Netherlands, plant-based food fund in Denmark, Singapore's 30 by 30 strategy. We believe these will all be critical in boosting the supply side of fermented products. We also mentioned Denmark's upcoming legislation on carbon tax related to agriculture emissions. We believe this could provide an indirect catalyst for demand for fermented goods. Now, whilst these initiatives support the direction of travel for this technology, it's important to acknowledge that more policy support will be needed to create a level playing field versus traditional agriculture, which, as we know, currently benefits from various subsidies.
Arushi, this has been really interesting. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk.
Thank you, Rachel. It was great speaking with you.
And thanks for listening. If you enjoy Thoughts on the Market, please leave us a review wherever you listen and share the podcast with a friend or colleague today.
The preceding content is informational only and based on information available when created. It is not an offer or solicitation, nor is it tax or legal advice. It does not consider your financial circumstances and objectives and may not be suitable for you.